Have you ever felt kind of trapped by your own success? I mean, you've got this killer stock portfolio. It's doing great, but you can't touch it, right? Because if you sell, you get hit with a huge tax bill or you miss out on all that future growth. Well, what if I told you there's a way to get cash out of your stocks without selling a single share? That is exactly what we're talking about today, the powerful, and let's be honest, often misunderstood world of stock pledging.
Just picture this for a second. You finally made it. Your portfolio is just soaring, but all your cash is tied up. That dream house you wanted, that once-in-a-lifetime business opportunity, it's all just right there, but out of reach. So you're stuck with this impossible choice. Do you sell your golden goose and miss out on future gains, or do you just let your dreams slip away? This is the exact financial puzzle that stock pledging was created to solve.
So how do we solve this puzzle? Well, we're going to go on a little journey to find out. First, we'll pull back the curtain on stock pledging and see how it can basically turn your portfolio into a personal ATM. Then, we're going to peek under the hood and see exactly how the engine works. But, and this is a big but, there is a danger zone. We're going to spend some serious time on the 13% rule that can literally make or break your financial future. We'll also see how this tool is a real double-edged sword, and more importantly, how to handle it like a pro. And finally, we'll boil it all down to the key takeaways you can use right away.
All right, let's dive right into the nitty-gritty. Think of your stock portfolio like a big, beautiful, but really heavy block of gold. It's super valuable, but you can't exactly shave off a piece to buy groceries. Stock pledging is the tool that lets you get the cash you need without shattering the whole block. It's not just about borrowing money, it's about turning your static wealth into something dynamic, something flexible.
So what is stock pledging in a nutshell? It's really simple. You're just using your stocks as collateral to get a loan. That's it. The official term, unrestricted use fund lending, is just a fancy way of saying you can use the money for pretty much whatever you want. A down payment, starting a business, covering an emergency, you name it. It's basically like a home equity loan, but for your portfolio. It turns your brokerage account into a cash machine.
Now this is where the real magic happens. You get the cash you need, but you don't have to sell your favorite stocks. You are still the full legal owner, so you get all the perks, every dividend, every stock split, and you still have your voting rights at shareholder meetings. It is literally like having your cake and eating it too, with a big side of financial freedom.
Okay, so you're probably sold on the idea, but you might be thinking, this sounds complicated. Well, let me tell you, you're in for a surprise. The whole process has become so simple, it's almost scary. Let's break down the actual mechanics.
It's really just a simple four-step dance. 1. You open a special lending account. 2. You slide your eligible stocks over to be used as collateral. 3. The lender takes a quick look at your portfolio and tells you how much you can borrow. It's usually up to 60% of its value. And 4. The cash gets zapped directly into your account. And here's the real kicker. With some firms, this can all happen in just a few hours. You could apply in the morning and be spending that cash by the afternoon. It's that fast.
So where do you go to get this magic money? Well, you've got 3 main options, and they each have their own pros and cons. You've got banks. They're kind of like the slow and steady turtle. They have low interest rates, but also a lot of paperwork and fees. Then you have the securities firms, who are like the speedy hare. Lightning fast service, but the interest rates are higher. And then there's the specialized finance companies, kind of like the crafty fox. They offer a sweet spot right in the middle, with good rates and fewer fees. But they might be a bit stricter, sometimes asking for a higher maintenance ratio right from the start. The right choice for you really just depends on what you care about most: saving money, getting it fast, or having more flexibility.
All right, everybody, buckle up, because we are about to enter the danger zone. If you only take away one thing from this entire explainer, please make it this section. This is all about the math of risk. This is where the dream of easy money can turn into an absolute nightmare if you're not paying attention. It's non-negotiable, so listen closely. 130%. I want you to burn this number into your brain. This is the legal minimum maintenance ratio. It is the absolute line in the sand. If you cross it, you are in a world of trouble. You know, the math itself is surprisingly simple. You just take the current value of your pledged stocks and divide it by the amount you borrowed. That's it. Think of it like the fuel gauge in your car. Sure, the lender is watching it to make sure you don't run out of gas, but you need to be watching it even more closely. This is your personal early warning system for a financial disaster. To make this crystal clear, let's just walk through a quick example. Let's say you have a portfolio of good, high-quality stocks, and it's worth 1 million TWD. So, you decide to go for the max. You borrow 600,000 TWD. Right off the bat, your starting ratio is a cool 166.7%, well above that 130% danger zone. You're feeling pretty confident, right? But here's the thing you have to remember about the market. It's a fickle beast, and that comfortable little buffer you're sitting on, it can vanish in the blink of an eye.
So where's the tripwire? It's at 780,000 TWD. The second your portfolio dips to that level, alarm bells start ringing. Why? Because that's the exact point your maintenance ratio hits 130%. A 22% drop. That's all it takes. In a volatile market, that's not even a storm. It's just a light drizzle. It can happen before you've even finished your morning coffee.
And once that tripwire is hit, a doomsday clock starts ticking, and it moves terrifyingly fast. On T-Day, the day you dip below 130, you get that dreaded margin call notice. You have just 2 days, that's it, until T+2 to cough up more cash or more stock. If you can't do it, on T+3, it is game over. The lenders start selling your stocks, and they do not care about getting a good price. This is what's known as duan tou, which literally translates to beheaded. A pretty brutal term, but honestly, it's a fitting one for having your assets liquidated at the worst possible time.
So this brings us to the central choice you have to make. Stock pledging is an incredibly powerful tool, but like any sharp blade, it all depends on how you decide to handle it. You can be aggressive, or you can be cautious.
Let's just look at two different investors walking two very different paths. You have the daredevil. He borrows the full 60%, starting with that tight 166% ratio. He's basically walking a tightrope over a canyon, and the slightest little breeze could send him plummeting. Then you have the sage. She borrows a mere 30%. Her initial ratio is like a fortress, sitting at 333%. The market would have to crash by 60% before her walls are even tested. That's not just a safety buffer, that's a financial fortress.
And hey, don't think you're safe just because you're floating above 130%. There are other hidden traps that can spring a forced sale on you. Your loan could expire, and if you haven't renewed or paid it back, poof, your stocks are gone. Or your golden goose stock could get delisted and you'll have to pay up fast. Or a legal issue could pop up out of nowhere and you'd have just a few days to sort it out before the lender just sells your stuff. The 130% rule is like the main boss, but trust me, there are plenty of other monsters lurking in this dungeon.
Now this is where things get really interesting. We're shifting from the technical details to your personal strategy. See, the tool itself is neutral. Whether it leads to success or failure depends entirely on the person who's using it. There's this great quote from a financial expert, Kai Shang which roughly means financial quotient brother bull. And he says, it's not about the $1 million, but about the person behind it. And that is the absolute truth. You could give two people the exact same portfolio, the exact same loan. One could go on to build an empire, while the other ends up in total financial ruin. The difference? It's not in the tool, it's in the user.
So how do you become the master of this powerful tool? You follow the 4 commandments of safe stock pledging. First, thou shalt only pledge your highest quality assets. No meme stocks, no speculative gambles. We're talking blue chip stocks and rock-solid ETFs. Second, thou shalt maintain a high ratio. Don't just stay above 130%. Build a mighty fortress of 250 or even 300%. Third, thou shalt not be greedy. Just because you can borrow 60% doesn't mean you should. Be humble. Stick to a modest 30 or 40%. And finally, number 4, thou shalt always keep a cash emergency fund. It is your lifeline in the face of that margin call demon.
All right, we've covered a lot of ground. So what are the absolute most important things to walk away with after this deep dive? What's the bottom line?
So, let's recap the golden rules from our masterclass. Rule number 1. This is a tool for liquidity, not a get-rich-quick scheme. Use it to unlock the cash that's already in your portfolio, not to gamble on the market. Rule number 2. The 13% ratio is sacred. You have to treat it with the respect it deserves, because crossing that line has serious consequences. Rule number 3, how much you borrow is your destiny. The most important decision isn't whether to borrow, but how much. Be conservative, and you'll sleep well at night. And rule number 4, this is a hands-on activity. You can't just set it and forget it. Your success depends entirely on your discipline and your rock-solid risk management plan.
So, there you have it. We've laid it all out for you. The good, the bad, and the ugly of stock pledging. You've seen the incredible power of this tool, and you've seen the very real danger. You know the rules. You know the risks. The only question left is, are you the right person to wield this blade? Do you have the discipline, the foresight, and the steady hand it requires? The answer to that question doesn't lie with me. It lies with you.